out to put your memories behind you, and they're still right there in front of you. We shouldn't focus on this summer. Next year will roll around, and then the year after that, and then it's just I don't know. My Aunt Judy called it a pause in the hallway of time.
Nobody likes unknowing. Nobody likes to have questions go unanswered, especially if you've invested so much time in trying to find the answers. Firewatch's ending has caused some detest amongst gamers for its abrupt conclusion that leaves the mystery of Ned Goodwin mostly unanswered. It frustrated a lot of players because it feels simply as if the game concludes without explaining everything that Henry discovered along his journey. It's even more disappointing that the player never gets to finally meet Delilah, with her physical appearance forever going unseen. I, on the other hand, argue that the ending is perfectly fitting if you accept the context of what the entire story means. This is not a story about grand conspiracy or uncovering the truth behind the mystery that has provoked the wilderness. It's a story about a man trying to get away from the world and find solace in a secluded, tranquil place. The story is told from a singular perspective. We have Henry, a man whose happy life has been tragically strained by his wife's early onset Alzheimer's disease. In the opening introduction, the story is told in a very controlled and direct manner, very much in the same vein as a storybook. The game asks for your attention to understand the intent of Henry's journey. It makes his relationship with his wife Julia a very loving, caring, and intimate one that is gradually hampered by their daily stresses in later life. It's a very honest and often relatable circumstance that life's obstacles get in the way of true contentment. When it hits us with Julia's sudden illness, it's a truly devastating and heartbreaking revelation that makes us sympathetic of Henry's personal choice to temporarily leave his life behind. The key word here is temporarily. When we get overwhelmed and stressed out by our everyday lives, we seek refuge in isolation. We find a quiet spot to stop and think, or immerse ourselves in another activity, such as playing a sport, fishing, reading a book, watching a film, or even playing video games. These are temporary short-term solutions that act as a safety valve for us to release steam and reduce the pressures that life can put on us. As a result, it allows us to recuperate both mentally and emotionally so that we can handle the routine stresses in front of us. The story that's presented in Firewatch allows for the same relatable scenario. Henry is literally counting down the days until summer ends, when he will eventually have to go back to his old life. The frequent use of ellipsis, the omissions of time in which we suddenly jump several days forward, reinforces how we make the most of the time we have to ourselves. What is essentially 3 months feels more like 3 hours, echoing the famous idiom that time flies when you're having fun. The fact that the game is literally 3 hours long reflects how time goes by so fast that we never feel like we have the time we want for ourselves, and this rings true in the game's lack of closure. Just as Henry is told he must get to the rescue helicopter, he finds a tape from Ned Goodwin which explains everything from Goodwin's perspective, enlightening much of the mystery surrounding his son's death. The only trouble is that Henry is too late to find more answers, despite coming across a significant discovery. The player doesn't even have to investigate Goodwin's hideout. In fact, doing so only gives you the answers that you already assume, such as Ned observing and listening to Henry and Delilah. It's deliberately underwhelming to reflect how the mystery is not the point, but rather the time you spent taking a break from reality. The mystery is ultimately a distraction. It keeps Henry's mind off the life he left behind and gives him something to do whilst waiting for summer to end. In fact, if Henry could stay, he would, just so that he doesn't have to face his troubles once again. It mirrors the same circumstances as Ned Goodwin, who decided to live in the wilderness then face up to the real world once again. Henry is excited by the revelations, but Delilah explains that it no longer matters because their time is up, so the mystery becomes seemingly irrelevant. Summer is over and Henry's services are no longer required, so he must accept that the fun must come to an end. Think of it this way: I find the game to be rather nostalgic in its depiction of summer. As a kid, you make the most of the summer months you have to yourself, and there's something upsetting and unfair about watching your final summer sunset as you prepare to face the harsh reality once again. Or even if you're playing with your friend and you hear a voice shouting, "Playtime's up, it's time to go home." It's a sudden and unforeseen end that you have no control of. In the conclusion, Henry can ask Delilah to come with him and move away somewhere, but Delilah tells him to go back to his wife because, after all, he is still a married man. He still has a commitment to his old life. Delilah was only a short-term acquaintance to help him through the summer, and now that it's at an end, life must go on. Firewatch was never about the mystery, but rather a very humanized look at finding time to ponder to yourself. It may not be an everlasting experience or even necessarily remarkable, but it's a breath of fresh air away from the troubles that we are sometimes too scared to face alone. Thanks for watching, guys. If you didn't enjoy the story, that's okay, and that's fine. There is nothing wrong with not enjoying a story. Nobody likes not knowing, nobody likes ambiguity, but it is a very prevalent and important thing to us as people. Not every answer is definitively going to be given to us. The thing about Firewatch is that it's handled in a very mature and humanized way. It's not trying to give you clear, definitive answers, because in life that's not how things work. We have to do a fair bit of the work. So if you personally didn't enjoy that, that's totally fine. Move on. There are plenty of other amazing stories out there to love and learn about. This Thursday we're going to be doing a very in-depth analytical piece. We're going to break down all the elements that make up a great fight scene, specifically looking at Old Boy. So until Thursday, if you're on Twitter, go there, and if you're on Facebook, if you want to head there as well, ask me questions, throw requests, whatever it may be, over on those places. I'm always here as well, when I get the time. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you very soon.